Today, we will be talking about Eppley Property Fund, specifically the Value Fund, which is what is listed on the JSC and is of the most significant value to investors. So, for the 2023 financial year, which would have ended on September 30, Eppley Property Fund Value Fund, which is shortened to CPFV, that saw a 62% increase in its total income, which would have come up to about BDS $21.3 million, or about 1.6 billion Jamaican dollars. I believe that's probably a little higher, but about 1.6 billion Jamaican dollars. And that would have been driven heavily by the fair value gains it would have derived from some of its some of its investment properties that are based here in Jamaica. And during the year, they would have acquired the remaining 50% interest on 693 Spanish Town Road, and they have started to, put a significant amount of, or I should say, significant amounts of money into redeveloping the property to rent it at a higher rate to a significant blue chip tenant. So that property on 693 Spanish Town Road, it was fully occupied at September 2022. It was unoccupied at September 2023, but it's likely that they'd have found a tenant for the property since then. And to give some further context, they would have acquired 22 properties from Jane Bank at the end of the financial year on September 29. So these figures wouldn't have been, well, the income from that transaction wouldn't have shown up as yet, but the Caribbean Property Fund actually saw its total property square footage go up to 1.14 million square feet. And this is, a significant step up from the 270,000 square feet you'd have started prior to listing the JSC back in May 2019, around August 2019. So they've made a significant step up in terms of, the property that they do own and the diversity of properties that they do own as well. And, they've been doing some pretty good work when you think about the fact that they're paying a quarterly dividend right now. They're following the Eppley style similar structure in terms of a small quarterly dividend and a large dividend in the financial year. So shareholders who are on record of January 12 should be getting a dividend for March 24. And although dividend is quoted in BDS, which that stands for Barbadian dollars, the dividend is actually payable in USD for shareholders not based in Barbados. So if you're in Jamaica, make sure that it's your mandate to go to use a bank account if you have one in place. And there are several other activities that took place closer to the end and start to the new financial year. So they're from the new holding company based in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we're not sure, if they're going to be doing some sort of project down there as yet. Probably, more likely. And they also, acquired ECPF United Property Holdings Limited, which is based in Trinidad and Tobago. So we're not sure, what deal is going to come out of that as yet, but based on the name, it's like kind of the industrial asset that will feed towards growing the bottom line and overall top line as well. So Eppley Property Fund, had another strong year. The development fund will have seen a significant shift during the year in the sense that its fund manager, Eppley Fund Managers Limited, will have taken a significant majority interest in the fund. It would have disposed of 2 additional properties and is currently looking to realign its mandate right now. So this particular stock, Eppley Property Fund, is trading at about 57% discount to its net asset value. The net asset value is simply is the shareholders' equity divided by the number of shares of the company. And at the end of September 2023, it would have been BDS 0.88, which is about 66.88 Jamaican dollars. Well, it's again trading at about 30 Jamaican dollars. So there's that significant, difference right there. And when you convert the dividend payments, annualized payments relative to the stock price, you're at about 6% dividend yield, which is relatively pretty far from their desired targeted yield of 9% based on the NAV and 14% based on the stock price. So the continued growth of the property fund in Jamaica across the region will augur better for investors going forward, for those who look to that stability of the real estate portfolio or real estate assets and that stable dividend income.
David, let me ask you, what's your take, or what are you seeing in the commercial real estate space in Jamaica and across the Caribbean? What are you seeing?
So, from just my naive perspective, what you're seeing is specialized properties. So, on the industrial side, you're seeing more built to suite properties. So, for example, you'd have seen Cygnus Real Estate Finance develop that property on Spanish Town Road as well
Yes.
for IMCA Jamaica. And then you're seeing other projects going on right now. So, for example, you would have seen a new property or plaza developed on Red Hills Road, which was built towards a BPO, but also towards, supporting the surrounding community. And then you're also seeing different commercial properties, like, for example, Stanley Motor Limited expanding their Unit 1 property into a 10-story building. So, and that is, focused towards integrating some of the muscle and related companies and other third-party businesses into that unit. So basically what I'm trying to highlight is that you're seeing a lot more built to suite, specified properties. And when you come into this commercial segment, you're just seeing more, I should say, a bit more specialized and deliberate focus by investors, or not even investors, but real estate developers towards those specialized properties. So, for example, Cygnus Real Estate Finance is also developing Lakespen, the 55-acre property by Lakespen in St. Catherine, and you have that proposed, I believe it is economic free zone that is by Caymanas. So you're seeing more and more specialized developments in terms of commercial on the office side, more towards companies that want to scale up from their current abode to higher levels of property. Let's say, for example, from a smaller complex space in a smaller office to a bigger, more appropriate, space. And for the industrial side, you're seeing more developments being built, and developed alongside the growth in manufacturing that is happening to both further and further in Jamaica. And with the person asking about Eppley Property Fund, so the dividend is quoted in Barbadian dollars, but like other companies, if you are based outside of the country of jurisdiction, you are paid in another currency. So in this case, you'll be paid in US dollars if you want Eppley Property Fund and you're based in Jamaica. Can't say the same for Trinidad, but how would that make sense for you?
Yes. Now that leads me into, we have a question here from Javon Russell who's asking, Eppley Caribbean Property Value Fund, does it pay US dividends?
I just answered that.
Yes. Do you want to expand on that?
No, it is expounded. So if you're based outside of, in this case, Barbados, you're paid US dollar dividends if you're based in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So when it's quoted in BDS, you get paid in US dollars.
David, let me also ask you, a few years ago, there was this explosion in buildings for BPOs and the BPO sector. With AI coming into play now and the rest of it, what do you see? Do you see a slowdown in those kind of projects, or what's your take on that?
The reality is, right now, you're going to still have a situation whereby labor needs to meet, some form of work. And the reason why I say that is, while we have this current risk of AI, there are still some elements that are going to be harder to shift and not happen overnight. So while in some parts of, for example, the first way, like the USA, you get robots or automated, voices when you call customer care, we're still taking time in this part of the world, Latin American, Caribbean, to shift forward in that sense. So in terms of AI disruption, it will take a little bit more time before you potentially see some significant disruption in the Caribbean in particular. You have to consider accent, dialect, and just a myriad of other factors. I'm not saying it will happen, but you might see some level of, shift in terms of how some developers build these BPO complexes and potentially look at Second Life for, potential other tenants.